League form over the last 14 months is completely sackable, and I respect where people stand on that regard. Personally, I don't like any of the potential candidates, so I'm willing to hold out during this spell and see what happens in the Cup and Europe when players are fit. Yeah, I mean, do you feel like the form over the past 14 months is sackable form?
I mean, I guess it's your definition of sackable based on what we've sacked up managers for previously. Yes, it is. I mean, we've sacked managers for this for way worse, for better form than this.
For way less, yeah.
So, is this sackable form? Probably. I mean, but I also understand the circumstances we're in. I understand, also when we have played well, I can see what we're capable of. I almost think of it as like a young player. When you're judging a young player who's who you're looking to maybe have a future at this club, or you're thinking can be a good player for your club, and he comes in and then he has some really great games and then goes missing for some games. Like, do you judge that young player on his best day or on his worst day to determine whether he could be a good player for you? And you judge him, for me, you judge him on his best day. You judge him on how that shows you the potential that he has. And you hopefully that day, once he grows, he'll become more often. You see that player become, a mainstay in the team, and you see him have these really good performances. But obviously, a young player is going to have a lot of off days and inconsistencies as well. That's kind of how I see this team at the moment. And obviously, we're 18 months into Ange's tenure, and we'd all like to, for sure. I mean, I didn't expect us to be in this position at the beginning of the season at this stage, and it's very disappointing. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm happy about where we are, but I just think changing it now, I just don't. I think the potential upside to keeping with him and having him turn it around compared to changing him and having a potential short-term uptick, and then all of a sudden, we're back to building another team and all these different things. I think we're better off just sticking it to the end of the season because the potential upside is a lot greater. Because imagine if he does turn it around and all of a sudden we have something really strong to build on, going forward. Whereas if we bring in a new manager, right, and there's maybe, first of all, I don't see a short-term. In terms of in the short term, I don't see a massive upswing in results. Maybe we'll get one or two because of whatever change in approach, and that brings just natural a bounce sometimes or whatever, new energy. But I don't see a sustainable short-term upswing in results. And also that means come the summer, you're maybe thinking about going a different approach with different players and all these different things, and you're just starting the project again. And we could be in a year's time sitting in the same place. So for me, I just think we're better off sticking with it for now. And look, come the end of the season, we can maybe all sit here and say it just hasn't worked out and we go our separate ways and we then change it then. But I think there's the potential upside for him turning it around is much greater than the upside of a new manager turning it around, if you know what I mean.
But maybe you've been a bit of guilty of judging those young players a bit too much in the past. Harry Winks, you wanted to hold on to those positive performances for a bit too long, and we held on for him for too long. Skippy, we held on to those positive performances a bit, and maybe held on
too long.
Maybe a season too long, because he did nothing he was no impact last year, really.
Yeah, but he has to have that year to know that he's not good enough, you know what I mean?
Yeah, potentially. Bleacher Report Football says Tottenham this season, you never know what you're going to get. I mean, at the moment, you kind of do know what you're going to get. That's the problem.
True. At the moment, we're going to get a team that just can't run and just losing games. That's the reality. But still, you never know with Spurs. You never know.
Pro Tottenham says, you are not convincing me for a second that there's no managers who are capable of appointing who can do a better job at managing club than Ange. We are regressing. I don't believe having a fully fit squad changes the outcomes of matches. Ange is out of his depth. In my opinion, I do probably think it can change the outcomes in some games, but I don't think it can change the outcomes in the majority of games.
I think there are some games there for sure. I mean, I think Liverpool, probably not. I think that Chelsea game, I think definitely it could have been different if circumstances were different. But obviously it went against us in that game. Liverpool, I think we're always going to lose that game. Yesterday, I think maybe could have been different. I think Van de Ven, for example, probably cuts out that pass that goes through to Elanga. I think he probably cuts it out, but unfortunately he wasn't on the pitch. But I think, I'm not saying all the games would have been different, but I definitely think we pick up more wins if we have less injuries. And look, I think if we had no injuries, do I see, let's say, just 2 wins in that run? I definitely see at least 2 wins, and that changes the league. All of a sudden, we're a lot higher up in the table. So I think for sure would be in a much better situation if we didn't have this problem, in my opinion.
I would say maybe a better. I wouldn't say much better. That's what I would say. Tottenham Ben, that's not me, but it's another Tottenham Ben saying, struggling to see the problem. Everyone's so reactionary. We are still top.
Yeah, look at that, top league. Incredible. And it's actually a mad title race.